Chapter 1, The Silicon Ghost. Welcome to Synapse Daily. Moscow, winter of 1964. The biting Russian air hits hard. Steam rises from thousands of old exhausts. But a silent eye is watching now. An electronic brain slowly wakes up. It counts every single passing car. It measures every cold, dark street. This was the legendary START system. Soviet engineers dreamt of absolute perfection. They wanted total urban harmony today. No more human traffic errors occurred. Just pure, mathematical flow for everyone. Imagine a city run by logic alone. It sounds like deep science fiction. Yet, it was very real in 1964. Why did they build this massive machine? How did it change Moscow forever? Let us peel back layers of history. The streets were once chaotic and wild. The party demanded order and strict control. Mathematics became the new Soviet god. Computers were the high priests of efficiency. The START project was a bold step. It was a digital ghost in Moscow. It lived inside wires and vacuum tubes. Every signal was a calculated move. The city became a giant circuit board. People felt the change in the air. The silent machine was finally online. It began to breathe with the traffic. Welcome to the dawn of cybernetics. Chapter 2, The Red Algorithm. The Cold War was peaking back then. Space was the very first frontier. Computing was the second major battleground. Soviet scientists sought total social control. They hated messy and chaotic city jams. Chaos was seen as a capitalist flaw. Or so the Communist Party claimed loudly. They built a complex cybernetic nerve. It linked street lights to secret sensors. Huge vacuum tubes hummed very loudly now. Data pulsed through very thick copper wires. Could a machine truly outthink humans? Could logic solve every single traffic jam? The START project began right here. It was a true digital revolution. It was born in a cold laboratory. Calculations replaced human intuition and luck. The algorithm dictated the city's rhythm. It searched for the perfect green wave. Engineers spent nights staring at screens. They mapped every intersection in the city. Moscow was now a living math problem. The solution was hidden in the code. Red stars met green electronic lights. The Soviet mind was merging with silicon. Efficiency was the only true goal here. The red algorithm was always watching you. Chapter 3, Steel and Glass Eyes. Engineers installed secret floor sensors underground. They buried them deep under the asphalt. These were the city's metallic ears. They heard every heavy rubber tire. Every black ZIL limo was tracked carefully. Every Volga's movement was recorded daily. Above, cameras watched the busy intersections. This was primitive but incredibly bold tech. Data flowed to a central control room. The center looked like a silver spaceship. Walls glowed with many signal lights. Men in white coats watched closely. They trusted the math almost completely. They saw the city's digital pulse clearly. The machine was finally fully alive now. Glass eyes never blinked or grew tired. They saw through the thickest Moscow fog. They counted the citizens in their cars. Every movement was a data point now. The sensors never missed a single beat. They felt the weight of the state. Steel and glass became the new observers. The streets were no longer private places. Everything was measured by the glass eyes. The data was cold and very precise. Chapter 4, The Central Brain. The main computer was truly massive. It filled an entire, high-ceiling room. Thousands of components clicked very rapidly. It calculated the most optimal green light. It adjusted signals in a few seconds. This was the first START processor. It prioritized the main city arteries. Moscow breathed through these digital pipes. The brain never grew tired or sleepy. It never missed a vital traffic signal. It worked during the heavy winter snow. It worked during the intense summer heat. Is the human mind now obsolete? Can we trust the cold wires? The Soviet engineers certainly thought so. They fed the brain constant stream data. The machine processed every single variable. It lived in a world of numbers. The central brain was the new king. It dictated when the city could move. It decided when the city must stop. Power moved through the logic gates now. The brain was a masterpiece of engineering. It was the heart of Soviet cybernetics. The clicking sound was the new heartbeat. Chapter 5: Taming the Metal Beast. Traffic was once a wild, angry animal. The start system was the new cage. Before 1964, total chaos reigned supreme here. Soviet police stood in the road center. They waved wooden sticks at moving cars. It was a slow and messy process. Human error caused many long, loud delays. The start changed the whole game now. It synchronized the famous green light waves. Drivers felt a very strange, new magic. They hit every green light in a row. The city felt much faster for everyone. It felt more organized and calm today. It was a rhythmic and digital dance. Silicon led the frantic and heavy lead. Moscow began to hum very differently now. The metal beast was finally growing quiet. Algorithms replaced the old, tired police hand. Every car moved like a silver soldier. The streets became a disciplined, cold march. No more shouting or honking in traffic. Just the sound of tires on asphalt. The machine tamed the wild city streets. It was a victory for Soviet engineering. The beast was now under total control. Chapter 6: The Cybernetic Dream. Cybernetics was once a strictly forbidden word. Stalin called it a bourgeois pseudoscience once. Times changed under Nikita Khrushchev's rule. Now, complex math was the only savior. It promised a perfect and bright future. No more waste, only pure digital efficiency. This wasn't just about moving heavy cars. It was about deep, social engineering today. If traffic is perfect, then life is. That was the hidden, desperate Soviet hope. A city without any friction or heat. A world ruled by perfect, cold equations. It was a beautiful and icy dream. Scientists wrote papers about the new logic. They imagined a world without any mistakes. The start was the first giant step. It proved that computers could rule us. It turned the city into a lab. The dream was made of glowing wires. It was built on trust in numbers. Humanity was just a variable to solve. The party loved this new, clean vision. Cybernetics became the ultimate Soviet weapon now. The dream was finally becoming a reality. Chapter 7: The Human Element. What did the average drivers think then? They saw the strange, glowing metal boxes. They heard the rhythmic and loud clicks. Most felt a quiet and deep awe. Some felt a very sharp, dark fear. Machines were slowly taking over human jobs. Would the traffic police disappear next year? The sensors were hidden very well underground. It felt like invisible, cold hands moved. The city felt strangely haunted by math. A digital ghost directed them every day. People whispered about the massive central brain. They wondered who was really watching them. Was it just for the daily traffic? Or was it something much more sinister? The human element was slowly fading away. People felt like small parts of math. They obeyed the lights without any question. The machine didn't care about their feelings. It only cared about the flow rate. Trust was replaced by a cold calculation. The citizens were now just data points. They moved when the ghost said move. The human heart met the silicon soul. Chapter 8: Hardware versus Nature. Russian winters are brutal and famous killers. The sensors faced incredibly deep, hard frost. Ice expanded inside the fragile vacuum tubes. Mechanical parts often jammed completely shut now. Engineers fought the bitter and biting cold. They insulated the very delicate copper wires. They replaced the burning and hot lamps. The start system was actually quite fragile. It required constant and very expert care. Nature hated the new, silicon brain today. Snow blocked the heavy camera lenses often. Still, the brave machine fought back daily. It was a war of high tech. Ice met the warmth of the tubes. Electricity struggled against the frozen, dark earth. The system needed warmth to think clearly. Men worked in the snow to fix. They kept the digital heart beating fast. Nature tried to stop the red algorithm. The algorithm refused to freeze or die. It was a battle of two worlds. Metal survived the harshest Russian winter nights. The machine proved its incredible strength today. Nature was a tough, relentless enemy here. Chapter 9: The Efficiency Paradox. The system worked almost too well now. Travel times dropped significantly for many people. Then, more people wanted to drive cars. The streets filled up very quickly again. It is a strange and cruel loop. Better roads always invite more heavy cars. Even the brain struggled with volume now. Math has its own very strict limits. You cannot optimize a truly infinite growth. The start hit a high, invisible wall. It was a brilliant and loud success. It was also a very clear warning. Technology solves one very big problem today. Then, it creates two more complex ones. The paradox haunted the Soviet lead engineers. They needed more power and more memory. The city was growing faster than code. The efficiency created its own new chaos. Logic cannot stop the human desire. More speed led to more crowded streets. The brain was caught in a loop. The paradox was the only true winner. Even the start had its own end. The machine was learning about human limits. Chapter 10: Behind the Iron Curtain. Western spies watched the start system closely. They were truly shocked by its advanced power. The Soviets were miles ahead in this field. This was very advanced and elite urban tech. It used amazing real-time digital feedback loops. This is the true grandfather of our internet. Moscow was a living and breathing laboratory now. Every street was a long, copper wire. Every moving car was a small data bit. The West began to copy the Soviet model. They saw the incredible Russian success with START. A global race had officially started in 1964. Traffic was the new, silent Cold War battlefield. Who would win the fight for the grid? The Americans studied the Soviet logic very carefully. They wanted to tame their own wild cities. But Moscow was the first to try it. The Iron Curtain hid many digital secrets then. Computing was not just for the nuclear bombs. It was for the common, everyday street light. The curtain had eyes made of glass tubes. Intelligence agencies gathered data on the sensors. They feared the efficiency of the red brain. It was a hidden war of urban flow. The world was watching Moscow's every move. Chapter 11: The Legacy of START. By the late 1970s, the system grew larger. Other Soviet cities requested the massive brain too. Kiev and Leningrad followed the same path soon. The 1964 pilot was a truly legendary event. It paved the way for future smart cities. Modern GPS systems owe it a huge thanks. AI traffic control actually started right here. We still use these feedback loops every day. The START system never truly died or faded. It just became much smaller and more efficient. It moved from rooms into our tiny phones. We live inside that original Soviet dream now. The Soviet brain is everywhere in our world. Every time you wait, the ghost is there. Every green wave is a gift from 1964. Engineers today stand on those old shoulders. The legacy is built into the city's bones. It is a silent part of modern life. We don't see the tubes or wires anymore. But the math remains exactly the same today. Start changed how we move through the world. It was the first spark of smart tech. The legacy lives in every glowing signal light. Chapter 12: Broken Circuits. The Soviet Union eventually fell and collapsed. The massive, clicking computers were sold for parts. Old wires were stripped for their valuable copper. The start control rooms went dark and silent. Thick dust covered the once glowing city maps. It was the end of a long era. But the recorded data remained in the files. The hard lessons were deeply learned by all. History often forgets the original creators' names. It only remembers the rhythmic, clicking sounds. The ghost of 1964 lingers in Moscow's air. It hides inside every modern traffic light today. The circuits broke, but the logic survived well. The rooms are empty and very cold now. Rats run where the white coats once walked. The glowing lights are now just dead glass. Yet, the spirit of the machine stays alive. It moved into a new, global digital web. The broken circuits told a very long story. They spoke of a dream that grew too big. The ruins are a monument to the brain. Even in silence, the system still teaches us. The clicking has stopped, but we still listen. Chapter 13: The Future Pulse. Look at your local light. It is likely smart now. It thinks just like Start. We are still being watched. We are still being counted. Is this the ultimate freedom? Or are we just bits? The 1964 experiment continues today. Moscow was just the beginning. Thank you for joining us. This was Synapse Daily. Stay curious. Stay wired. Until next time, keep moving.